A young boy vanished without a trace while taking his dog for an evening walk, leaving his family desperately searching for answers. The entire community joined the search efforts, but days turned into weeks with no sign of the child. But 6 months later, a hunter checking his traps deep in the woods notices something unusual caught inside, and what he discovers makes his blood run cold and changes the investigation forever. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like and comment from which part of the world you're watching, because now I'm going to tell you how all of this happened. "Just once around, Mom, I promise," Tommy Wilson called over his shoulder, his blonde hair catching the October sunlight. The 8-year-old boy tugged gently on the red leash as his chocolate Labrador puppy, Buddy, bounced excitedly at his feet. Jennifer Wilson smiled from the kitchen window of their 2-story home in Pine Creek, Connecticut. "Be back before dinner, sweetie, 5 o'clock sharp." She watched her son's small figure turn the corner of their peaceful neighborhood, where maple trees lined the streets with golden red leaves. Then she returned to chopping vegetables for the family's chicken stew, humming softly to herself. At 4:30, Jennifer glanced at the clock. At 4:45, she peered out the window. At 5 o'clock, she called Tommy's name from the front porch. At 5:15, panic crept into her chest. Jennifer grabbed her phone and called her husband. "Robert, Tommy's not home. He took Buddy for a walk over an hour ago. Did you check with the neighbors?" Robert's voice sounded calm, but Jennifer could hear him grabbing his keys. "Not yet. I'm going to look around the block right now." Jennifer hurried down the street calling Tommy's name. She knocked on doors. She checked the playground at the end of the street. No one had seen her son or his puppy. Robert's car screeched into the driveway 20 minutes later. His face was pale as he joined the growing group of neighbors now helping with the search. "I'm calling the police," he said, his hand shaking as he pulled out his phone. Officer Mark Thompson arrived within 10 minutes, his police cruiser's lights flashing against the houses now cast in evening shadows. He was tall, with kind eyes, and a notebook already in hand. "When did you last see your son?" he asked as Jennifer led him into their living room. "Around 3:30, Jennifer said, twisting her wedding ring. "He took Buddy for a walk around the neighborhood. He's done it before. He knows not to talk to strangers." "What was Tommy wearing?" Officer Thompson asked. Robert stepped forward. "His New York Yankees t-shirt, the blue one, and jeans, and those light-up sneakers he loves." "And Buddy has a blue collar with his name tag," Jennifer added. As darkness fell, more police cars arrived. Neighbors formed search parties with flashlights. Tommy's school picture was copied and handed out. Officer Thompson radioed for additional help. "We'll find him," he assured the Wilsons, but his eyes betrayed his concern. By midnight, Pine Creek had transformed. The quiet town of 12,000 people now buzzed with urgency. Volunteers searched woods near the neighborhood. Police officers interviewed everyone within 3 blocks. Tommy's 4th-grade teacher, Mrs. Garcia, arrived with other school staff to support the family. "Tommy is such a bright boy," she told Officer Thompson. "He knows his address and phone number by heart. If he could call home, he would." The Wilsons sat on their couch, surrounded by friends and police officers. Jennifer clutched Tommy's favorite dinosaur toy, a triceratops he'd named Spike, that he'd left on the coffee table that morning. "I should have gone with him," she whispered to Robert. "I was making dinner. I thought he'd be fine for 20 minutes. Robert put his arm around her shoulders. "This isn't your fault. Someone took our son, and we're going to find him." 3 days later, FBI agent Lisa Martinez walked into the Wilson home. She wore a dark suit and carried a leather briefcase. The living room had become a command center, with maps on the walls and phones ringing constantly. "Mr. and Mrs. Wilson," Agent Martinez said, shaking their hands, "I've been assigned to your son's case. I need to tell you something important." The room fell silent. Tommy isn't the first blonde boy to go missing in this region. 2 others disappeared from nearby counties in the past 18 months. Jennifer gasped. Robert's face hardened. "Why weren't families warned?" he demanded. "The cases weren't connected until now," Agent Martinez explained. Different jurisdictions, different circumstances, but I see a pattern. That evening, Agent Martinez brought in special search dogs. They followed Tommy's scent through the neighborhood, down 3 streets, and finally to Riverwood Bridge. "The trail ends here," the dog handler said. "It's like he vanished." "Or was put in a vehicle," Agent Martinez said grimly. As the search expanded beyond Pine Creek, Jennifer stood in Tommy's bedroom doorway each night, looking at his dinosaur collection, his baseball trophies, and the half-built Lego spaceship on his desk. The baseball sheets on his bed remained rumpled exactly as he'd left them. "We will find you," she whispered into the empty room. "Wherever you are, Tommy. Mommy and Daddy are looking for you. We won't stop until you're home." The calendar on the Wilson kitchen wall showed November, but for Jennifer and Robert, time had stopped on that October afternoon when Tommy vanished. Outside their window, the bright autumn leaves had fallen, replaced by bare branches and early snow. "It's been 34 days, Jennifer said, staring at the untouched cereal bowl across the breakfast table where Tommy should be sitting. Robert reached for her hand. "Agent Martinez called last night. They're expanding the search area again." "What good does that do now?" Jennifer's voice cracked. "The snow will cover everything." Robert squeezed her hand. "It also means there might be tracks, footprints that weren't there before." After breakfast, Robert loaded his truck with new missing person flyers. The old ones around town had become wet and torn from November rain. Tommy's smiling face, front teeth missing, blonde hair messy, stared back at him from the stack of papers. "I'll be back before dark," he told Jennifer, kissing her forehead. "Call me if you need anything." Jennifer nodded, watching him drive away. Then she walked slowly upstairs to Tommy's bedroom. Everything remained exactly as he had left it. Dinosaur figures arranged in battle formation on the bookshelf, baseball glove hanging from the bedpost, math homework half finished on his desk. She sat on his bed, picking up Spike, the Triceratops toy Tommy had accidentally left behind the day he disappeared. "Good morning, Tommy," she whispered, a ritual she performed each day. "Daddy's putting up new pictures of you today. Someone's going to see them and bring you home to us." 20 miles away, Robert stapled flyers to community bulletin boards, telephone poles, and store windows. He'd taken leave from his accounting job, using vacation days at first, then unpaid family leave when those ran out. "Any news about your boy?" asked Mr. Grayson at the hardware store as Robert taped a flyer to the front window. "Nothing solid yet," Robert replied, the words painful to say after so many weeks. "But the FBI is still working hard." "Whole town's still looking too," Mr. Grayson said. "Church groups organizing another search this weekend." As December arrived, the Wilson home filled with cards and casseroles from neighbors and friends. Tommy's classmates made a giant paper chain with messages of hope that Mrs. Garcia delivered to their front door. "The children miss him terribly," she told Jennifer. "They're convinced he'll be back for the class holiday party." Jennifer tried to smile. "That would be wonderful." That evening, she and Robert sat in their living room, where a Christmas tree stood in the corner. Beneath it lay wrapped presents, a new baseball glove, dinosaur books, and the Lego set Tommy had circled in the catalog months ago. "Do you think we should cancel Christmas?" Jennifer asked, her eyes on the gifts for a son who wasn't there. Robert shook his head. When Tommy comes home, he'll want to open his presents. Everything needs to be normal for him." The word normal hung in the air between them, both knowing nothing would ever be normal again. In the FBI command center at Pine Creek Town Hall, Agent Martinez pinned photos of all 3 missing boys on a large corkboard. Tommy Wilson's school picture was joined by Jason Reeves from Springfield, Massachusetts, and Daniel Cooper from Albany, New York, all blonde, all between 7 and 9 years old, all vanished while playing outdoors. "The reward fund just hit $50,000, Officer Thompson told her, setting down 2 coffee cups. "Anonymous donor added another $10,000 yesterday. Let's hope it brings in better tips than we've been getting," Martinez replied, sipping the hot coffee. "Most have led nowhere." As Christmas passed, then New Year's, media coverage began to fade. The reporters who had camped on the Wilsons' lawn moved on to other stories. The evening news mentioned Tommy less frequently, but Jennifer refused to give up hope. She kept his room clean, washing his sheets every Monday. She couldn't return to her elementary school teaching job, finding it impossible to face classrooms of children Tommy's age. Robert had returned to work part-time, his boss understanding but the bills still needing to be paid. Each evening he drove different routes home, scanning abandoned buildings, empty lots, always looking. "Sometimes I think I see him," he confessed to Jennifer one night in January. "A blonde head in a crowd, a child laughing, then I blink and it's not him." Jennifer nodded, knowing exactly how that felt. "I heard him call Mom yesterday, in the grocery store. I dropped everything and ran to the next aisle." The winter deepened. Snow piled high around Pine Creek. Search parties became less frequent as temperatures dropped below freezing. But Officer Thompson still visited the Wilson home every week, bringing updates on the investigation even when there was nothing new to report. "We won't forget Tommy," he promised Jennifer and Robert. "Cases like this don't go cold. They just take time." Yet as February arrived with bitter winds and more snow, even the most hopeful words couldn't warm the growing chill of uncertainty in the Wilson home. The harsh winter had finally begun to loosen its grip on Pine Creek. The calendar on the kitchen wall now showed April, 6 months since Tommy Wilson had disappeared. Officer Mark Thompson drove his police cruiser slowly down a muddy forest road in Blackwater Forest, about 20 miles from town. The morning sun filtered through the trees just starting to show their spring buds. "Dispatch, I'm checking those reports of illegal traps in Section 6 of Blackwater," he said into his radio. "Should be done in about an hour." "Copy that, Officer Thompson," came the crackling reply. Mark had been following up on these reports while still keeping Tommy's case active. The missing boy never left his thoughts. He kept Tommy's photo in his wallet next to pictures of his own kids. As he walked through a clearing, something caught his attention. A faint whimpering sound came from beyond a thick patch of bushes. "Hello," Mark called out, pushing branches aside. "Anyone there?" The whimpering grew louder. Mark followed the sound, pushing through thorny underbrush until he came to a small clearing. What he saw made him stop in his tracks. A chocolate Labrador puppy, now almost grown, was caught in a wire snare trap. The dog's right back leg was bleeding where the wire had cut into it. The animal looked severely malnourished, its ribs showing through its dull coat. "Hey there, buddy," Mark said softly, approaching slowly. "Let me help you." The dog cowered but didn't growl as Mark knelt beside it. That's when he noticed the collar, a faded blue band around the dog's neck. Mark gently turned the metal tag and read the name engraved there. "Buddy," he whispered, his heart pounding. "Tommy Wilson's dog." Mark carefully freed the dog from the trap, examining the injured leg. "It's okay, boy. I've got you now," he said, pulling out his radio. "Dispatch, this is Thompson. I need animal control at my location immediately, and call Agent Martinez. Tell her I found Buddy, Tommy Wilson's dog." While waiting for backup, Mark gave the dog water from his bottle. Buddy drank eagerly, but kept trying to move toward a specific spot, even on his injured leg. The dog would take a few limping steps, then paw at the ground before looking back at Mark. "What is it, boy? What are you trying to show me?" Mark followed as Buddy hobbled to a spot beneath a fallen tree. The dog began digging frantically at the soft earth. Mark knelt down and helped, using his hands to scoop away the dirt. About 6 inches down, his fingers touched fabric. Carefully, he pulled out a dirty blue New York Yankees t-shirt, Tommy's shirt. Wrapped inside was a water-damaged notebook. "Oh my God," Mark breathed, opening the soggy pages. Inside were childish drawings, a cabin in the woods, a tall man wearing what looked like a uniform with a star on it, and a crude map with an X marked near what resembled a river bend. Some pages had been torn out, but enough remained to send a chill down Mark's spine. Within an hour, the quiet forest clearing became a hive of activity. FBI agents took photos and collected evidence. Buddy was carefully loaded into an animal control van to be taken to a veterinarian. "The microchip confirms it," Agent Martinez told Mark as they watched the van pull away. "It's definitely Tommy's dog." "How did he survive out here all winter?" Mark asked. "It got down to 15 below zero in January." "Someone must have been feeding him," Martinez replied. "The question is, where's Tommy? And why release the dog now?" Back at the Wilson home, Jennifer's phone rang. She answered it mechanically, as she had hundreds of times since Tommy disappeared. "Mrs. Wilson, this is Agent Martinez. We've found Buddy." Jennifer's legs gave way and she sank to the floor. "Buddy? He's alive? What about Tommy? Did you find my son?" "Not yet," Martinez said gently, "but we found something with Buddy that might help us. I'm sending Officer Thompson to bring you to the station right away." Jennifer hung up and called Robert at work, her hands shaking so badly she could barely press the buttons. "Robert," she said when he answered, "they found Buddy. They found Tommy's dog." "The notebook could be our best lead yet," Agent Martinez said, carefully placing Tommy's water-damaged notebook into an evidence bag. She stood in the Pine Creek police station alongside Officer Thompson, Jennifer, and Robert Wilson, who couldn't take their eyes off the dirty Yankees t-shirt their son had been wearing the day he disappeared. "Can I touch it?" Jennifer asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Wilson. We need to preserve any evidence it might contain," Martinez explained gently. "Our forensics team will analyze everything at the lab." Robert put his arm around Jennifer's shoulders. "What about Buddy? When can we see him?" "The vet says he's dehydrated and underweight, but his leg injury isn't as bad as it looked," Officer Thompson said. "You can visit him tomorrow morning." At the FBI Forensics Laboratory, technicians worked carefully with the damaged notebook. Under bright lights, they photographed each page before attempting to separate them. "There are fingerprints all over this," said Dr. Eleanor Hayes, the lead forensics expert. She looked up at Agent Martinez. "Small ones that match Tommy's size, but also adult prints." "Can you get a match?" Martinez asked. "If the person is in our database, yes. But first, let's see what else we can find." Dr. Hayes carefully turned each page, revealing Tommy's drawings. Most showed the same cabin in slightly different ways. One page had stick figures, a small one with yellow hair and a much taller one standing next to it. "Look at this," Dr. Hayes said, pointing to the crude map. "He's trying to tell us where he is." When Dr. Hayes shined an ultraviolet light over the pages, something unexpected appeared. In the margins of several pages, previously invisible writing became visible. "Oh my goodness," she gasped. "There are messages written in lemon juice or some other organic invisible ink." Agent Martinez leaned closer. "What do they say?" "This one says help, and this one says Ranger Station." Dr. Hayes moved the light across more pages. "There, it says Ranger Station again." Martinez immediately called Officer Thompson. "The map in Tommy's notebook. I think it leads to an old forest ranger station in Blackwater Forest. We need to organize a search team immediately." By dawn the next day, FBI agents, state police, and local officers gathered at the edge of Blackwater Forest. They had topographical maps spread across the hood of a police SUV. "The old North Station is here," Officer Thompson said, pointing to a spot deep in the forest. "It's been abandoned for years, but it matches the location on Tommy's map." "Why didn't we search there before?" Robert Wilson asked. He had insisted on joining the search team. "It's over 15 miles from where Tommy disappeared," Martinez explained. "We focused our initial search closer to town. We never imagined someone would take him so deep into the forest." The search team moved through the woods in a careful line. After 3 hours of hiking, they reached a small clearing. In it stood a weathered wooden cabin with boarded windows. "This is it," Thompson whispered. "Everyone stay alert." As they approached the cabin, Agent Martinez noticed something unusual: thin strings tied between trees at different heights surrounding the area. "Stop," she commanded. "See these strings? They're tripwires, a primitive alarm system. Someone set these up to warn them if anyone was approaching." Inside the abandoned ranger station, the search team found clear evidence someone had been living there. A small sleeping bag lay in one corner. Food wrappers and empty water bottles were stacked neatly by the door. A child-sized jacket, hung from a nail on the wall. "Tommy was here," Jennifer said, touching the jacket with trembling fingers. "This is his. I put his name inside the collar." She turned the collar to show T. Wilson, written in marker. Agent Martinez examined the cabin carefully. "Whoever had Tommy here knew we'd be looking. These strings outside would have given them warning to escape before we arrived." "But where did they go?" Robert asked, his voice breaking. "Where's our son now?" Officer Thompson was checking the dates on some food wrappers. "Based on these, I'd say they left about 2 months ago. That matches when Buddy might have escaped or been released." As the team continued searching the cabin, an FBI agent called Martinez over to a small desk in the corner. "Agent, you need to see this," he said, pointing to a map pinned to the wall. It showed the Great Smoky Mountains National Park with several locations circled in red. "He's moved Tommy," Martinez said, "and I think I know where they might be heading next." The map on the wall of the abandoned ranger station gave them hope. Agent Martinez studied the circles marking locations in Great Smoky Mountains National Park, while the rest of the search team continued examining the cabin. "We need to expand our search area," she announced, turning to face the group. "I believe Tommy has been moved to Tennessee." Jennifer Wilson gasped. "Tennessee? That's hundreds of miles away." "How can you be sure?" Robert asked, his voice tight with worry. Before Agent Martinez could answer, her phone rang. She stepped outside to take the call while Officer Thompson continued documenting evidence inside the cabin. "That was my team at headquarters," Martinez said when she returned, her eyes bright with excitement. "The interview Jennifer did yesterday with Buddy has generated a promising lead." The previous day, Jennifer had appeared on national television with Buddy, who was recovering at their home. She had made an emotional plea for information about Tommy, with the chocolate lab sitting quietly beside her. "A Forest Service employee from Tennessee saw the broadcast," Martinez explained. "He called our hotline this morning. 2 months ago, he encountered a man hiking with a blonde boy in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. The boy matched Tommy's description." "Did he talk to them?" Robert asked eagerly. "Briefly. He said the boy seemed withdrawn and wouldn't make eye contact. The man claimed they were camping and quickly changed direction when approached. Our witness thought it was odd but didn't connect it to a missing child case until he saw Buddy on TV and recognized the story." Jennifer clutched Robert's arm. "This means Tommy is alive. Our son is alive." "It does," Martinez nodded. "And it confirms what we suspected from the map. The kidnapper is moving through national parks, using remote wilderness areas to stay hidden." Within 24 hours, FBI agents were combing through employee records from national parks across multiple states. Agent Martinez set up a new command center in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, at the edge of the Smoky Mountains. "We're focusing on seasonal employees," she explained to the Wilsons, who had flown in immediately. "Someone who works different parks throughout the year would know remote areas where they could hide." Officer Thompson had also made the trip, bringing Buddy with him. The dog had become an unexpected source of clues. "Watch this," Thompson demonstrated, showing Buddy photographs of various uniforms. The dog remained calm until Thompson showed him a park ranger uniform. Immediately, Buddy's ears flattened and he backed away, whimpering. "He's been conditioned to fear rangers," said Dr. Melissa Kane, an animal behavior specialist working with the FBI. "His reaction is consistent with spending extended time around someone wearing this type of uniform." "Can Buddy help us find Tommy?" Jennifer asked, stroking the dog's head gently. "Possibly, Doctor," Kane replied. "Dogs have incredible memory for scents and places. If we get close enough to where Tommy has been, Buddy might recognize it." That evening, as the team reviewed security camera footage from park entrances, Agent Martinez received another call. "We have something," she told the Wilsons after hanging up. A credit card belonging to Daniel Crawford was used at a supply store near Cherokee, North Carolina, 3 days ago. Crawford is a former seasonal park ranger who matches our suspect profile. "Who is he?" Robert demanded. Martinez pulled up Crawford's employment record on her laptop. 39 years old, worked at 6 different national parks over the past decade. Most recently at Blackwater Forest, where Buddy was found. She scrolled through the file. What's most concerning is that Crawford's employment history shows gaps that perfectly align with when each of the 3 boys disappeared. 3 boys? Jennifer whispered. You mean Tommy isn't the only one? We believe Crawford may be responsible for all 3 cases, Martinez confirmed. And there's more. Crawford was orphaned at age 7 and spent years in foster care. Despite inheriting a trust fund that means he doesn't need to work, he consistently seeks jobs near children. Jennifer covered her mouth with her hand. Why is he taking these boys? Our profilers think he's creating some kind of family unit, Martinez explained gently, possibly recreating something from his own childhood, but distorted through trauma. Officer Thompson, who had been studying a map of the park, looked up. If he follows his previous pattern, he won't stay in one place long. We need to move quickly. We will, Martinez assured them. Tomorrow morning, we're sending teams into the park with search dogs. If Tommy is there, we'll find him. I found him, Agent Martinez announced, bursting into the motel room where the Wilsons waited. She placed her laptop on the table, turning it to show them a driver's license photo of a man with sharp features and cold blue eyes. Daniel Crawford, age 39, former seasonal ranger at 6 different national parks. Jennifer leaned closer to the screen. He has Tommy? All evidence points to him, Martinez confirmed. We've been analyzing his employment records and found something disturbing. Crawford worked at Blackwater Forest near Pine Creek when Tommy disappeared. He also worked near the areas where the other 2 boys vanished. And the timing matches perfectly, Officer Thompson added, pointing to a timeline on Martinez's screen. Crawford quit his job at each park right after each boy went missing. Robert paced the small room. What do we know about this man? Why is he taking children? Agent Martinez pulled up another file. Crawford lost his parents in a car accident when he was 7 years old. He spent 11 years in foster care, moving between 8 different homes. 8 homes? Jennifer whispered. Yes, and despite inheriting a substantial trust fund at 21, he keeps taking low-paying seasonal jobs at parks, often working in areas with family campgrounds where he'd be around children. Dr. Sarah Jenkins, the FBI profiler who had joined the investigation, spoke up. Based on his background and patterns, I believe Crawford is attempting to create what he considers a family. He chooses blonde boys who resemble what he looked like as a child. What does he do with them? Robert asked, his voice breaking. He keeps them, Dr. Jenkins said gently. Unlike many child abduction cases, we believe Crawford's goal isn't to harm these children, but to parent them in his own distorted way. That's actually good news for Tommy's safety. How do we find him? Jennifer asked. Officer Thompson unfolded a map of national parks across the western United States. We've alerted every park service in the country. Crawford's photo has been distributed to rangers, campground hosts, and park employees. Just then, the motel phone rang. Jennifer answered it, her hand shaking. It's for you, she said, handing the phone to Agent Martinez. Martinez listened intently, her expression changing from concentration to surprise. When? Are you certain? Send it to my email immediately. She hung up and turned to the group. A package just arrived at the Wilson home in Pine Creek. Your neighbor signed for it and called the police when she saw it had no return address. What was in it? Robert demanded. They're scanning the contents now, but it appears to be Tommy's Yankees cap and a photograph, Martinez said, opening her email on the laptop. The image loaded slowly. First the blue cap, unmistakably Tommy's with its frayed edge where he'd caught it on a fence last summer. Then the photograph, a slightly blurry Polaroid showing Tommy standing next to a distinctive red rock formation. He looked thin, but unharmed, wearing clothes they didn't recognize. Tommy! Jennifer cried, touching the screen. He's alive! Dr. Jenkins studied the photo carefully. The background is very distinctive. Those red rock formations could help us pinpoint the location. Agent Martinez was already typing furiously. I'm sending this to our geology experts. They can identify landmarks like this. Less than 30 minutes later, Martinez's phone rang again. Eagle Rock, she announced after hanging up. It's a formation in Sedona, Arizona. The package was postmarked from Flagstaff, just 30 miles away. He's letting us know where they are, Dr. Jenkins said. This is unusual behavior for an abductor. Why would he do that? Robert asked. Because he knows we're closing in, Martinez replied, already gathering her things. He's feeling pressure from the investigation and may be preparing to move Tommy again, possibly across the Mexican border. We need to get to Arizona immediately. We're coming too, Jennifer insisted, standing up. Martinez nodded. I've already arranged for an FBI plane. We leave in 1 hour. As they hurried to pack, Officer Thompson received a text message. His face turned grave as he read it. Crawford purchased camping supplies, food for 2 people, and a bus ticket to Nogales 3 days ago, he told the group. Nogales is right on the Mexican border. Then we have no time to lose, Martinez said. If Crawford gets Tommy across the border, finding him becomes exponentially more difficult. The Arizona sun beat down on the Flagstaff airport tarmac as the FBI plane touched down. Agent Martinez, the Wilsons, and Officer Thompson rushed down the steps toward the waiting vehicles. We've set up command center at the Flagstaff Police Department, said Agent Rodriguez, the local FBI coordinator. Every law enforcement agency in northern Arizona has Crawford's photo and description of Tommy. Inside the lead SUV, Jennifer clutched Buddy's leash. The dog had become increasingly alert since landing, his nose twitching constantly. He senses something, Jennifer said. Don't you, boy? At the command center, maps of Sedona and the surrounding wilderness covered the walls. Red pins marked possible locations based on the Eagle Rock photo. Crawford knows these areas extremely well, Agent Martinez explained, addressing the room full of officers. He worked at Red Rock State Park 3 years ago and knows every trail and hidden canyon. How do we search so much territory? Robert asked, staring at the vast wilderness depicted on the maps. We have 6 helicopters with thermal imaging, Rodriguez answered, plus 24 search teams with dogs. We've also set up roadblocks on all major highways leaving the area. Officer Thompson knelt beside Buddy, who was sniffing equipment bags excitedly. Don't forget our secret weapon. This dog found Tommy's notebook when nobody else could. As teams deployed across the Red Rock country, Jennifer and Robert made a public plea on local television. Daniel, Jennifer said, looking directly into the camera, we just want Tommy back. We know you've taken good care of him. We're not angry. We just want our son home. Robert added, whatever pain you've experienced in your life, we understand. Please, just let Tommy come home to us. Meanwhile, Agent Martinez received a troubling update from the Border Patrol. Crawford's bus ticket to Nogales is for tomorrow morning, she told her team. We have less than 24 hours before he potentially crosses into Mexico with Tommy. By sunset, the search had covered 30% of the target area with no sign of Crawford or Tommy. Helicopter pilots reported dozens of hikers and campers, but none matching their descriptions. What if we're looking in the wrong place? Robert asked, his voice heavy with exhaustion. What if the photo was meant to mislead us? Before Martinez could answer, her phone rang. After a brief conversation, her expression changed. We have a witness, she announced. A rock-climbing instructor saw a man and boy matching Crawford and Tommy's descriptions heading toward Boynton Canyon this morning. Said the man seemed nervous, kept checking his surroundings. Boynton Canyon? Officer Thompson asked, studying the map. That's nearly 10 miles from Eagle Rock. He's on the move, Martinez confirmed. Probably realized we'd identify the location in the photo. Rodriguez, redirect 2 helicopters and 4 ground teams to Boynton Canyon immediately. As night fell, searchlights swept across the red sandstone cliffs and deep canyons. The teams used night vision equipment to continue the search through darkness. At the command center, Jennifer dozed fitfully on a cot while Robert studied maps with Officer Thompson. Suddenly, Buddy leapt up, barking excitedly at a stack of equipment in the corner. What is it, boy? Thompson asked, approaching the pile. Martinez joined him as he pulled out a backpack. That's standard issue Park Service gear. Where did this come from? It was collected from a ranger station this morning, Rodriguez explained, part of gathering equipment for the search. Thompson opened the bag, and Buddy immediately thrust his nose inside, whining. Beneath some basic supplies lay a child's drawing, crude stick figures labeled me and Dan, standing next to what looked like a mountain. "This is Tommy's drawing," Jennifer gasped, now fully awake. "He's trying to tell us where he is." Martinez examined the picture closely. "Look at this mountain shape. Does anyone recognize it?" Rodriguez pointed to a distinctive formation on the map. "That's Cathedral Rock. It's about 15 miles south of here." "That's where they're heading," Martinez said, already grabbing her radio. "All teams redirect to Cathedral Rock immediately, and tell the helicopter pilots to focus on the north face. That's the least visible approach." As the first light of dawn broke over the Red Rock landscape, the largest manhunt in Arizona history zeroed in on its target. Somewhere among those ancient stones, a frightened boy waited, while the man who took him realized his time was running out. "All units, we have new information," Agent Martinez's voice crackled through the radio. "Crawford isn't working alone." The search teams paused on the Red Rock trails as dawn broke over Cathedral Rock. The massive formation loomed against the brightening sky, its distinctive towers casting long shadows across the desert floor. "What do you mean he's not alone?" Robert asked, standing beside Officer Thompson and one of the search teams. Martinez's voice came through again. "Our cyber team found encrypted messages on wilderness survival forums. Crawford has been communicating with others who live off the grid. They help each other stay hidden." Back at Command Center, Jennifer watched as FBI technicians scrolled through message boards on their computers. "These people call themselves ghost walkers," explained Agent Rodriguez. "They share information about remote locations, how to avoid detection, and sometimes provide supplies or transportation to each other." "Are they all kidnappers?" Jennifer asked, her voice trembling. "No," said Dr. Jenkins, the FBI profiler. "Most are just loners who want to escape society. They don't know about the boys. They just help each other disappear when needed." Officer Thompson's radio buzzed. "Thompson here. We found something at the North Trail," said a search team leader. "Candy wrappers, Tommy's favorite brand." Jennifer grabbed Martinez's arm. "That's Starburst. Tommy loves the red ones." "How recent?" Martinez asked into the radio. "Very fresh, maybe from this morning." Martinez turned to her team. "Crawford must have supporters nearby, someone who's helping him move around." Within the hour, FBI cyber specialists identified a username that had communicated frequently with Crawford. The account belonged to Margaret Winters, a former gift shop employee at Red Rock State Park. Two agents brought Winters to the command center. She was a thin woman in her 50s with nervous eyes and sun-damaged skin. "I didn't know he took a child," she said immediately, wringing her hands. "I swear I didn't know." "But you helped him," Martinez said firmly. "How?" Winters looked down at her hands. 3 days ago, I gave Dan and a boy a ride to a trailhead near the Utah border. He said the boy was his son. The child was so quiet, I thought maybe he was shy or tired." "Which trailhead exactly?" Thompson demanded. "The entrance to Grand Staircase Escalante, the south section, near the old mining road." Jennifer gasped. "That's over 100 miles from here." Martinez immediately began issuing orders. "I need search teams redirected to Grand Staircase Escalante right now. Contact Utah authorities, and get the helicopters in the air immediately." Robert pounded his fist against the wall. "We were so close. He was just here at Cathedral Rock." "He's playing a shell game with us," Officer Thompson said, "moving Tommy from place to place using this network of helpers." "But why send us the photo of Tommy at Eagle Rock if he was planning to leave?" Jennifer asked. Dr. Jenkins considered this. "Crawford's actions suggest internal conflict. Part of him wants to keep Tommy, but another part knows what he's doing is wrong." The photo was a cry for help from himself. As teams raced toward the Utah border, Margaret Winters provided more details. "Dan seemed scared," she told them. "More nervous than usual. He kept saying he needed to reach the final place where no one would find them. Did he mention where this final place is? Martinez asked. Winters shook her head. No, but he had a map with him. I saw him studying it when he thought I wasn't looking. There was a circle around something called Forgotten Canyon. Agent Rodriguez quickly pulled up a map on his computer. Forgotten Canyon is in Natural Bridges National Monument, about 85 miles from the trailhead where she dropped them. That's it, Martinez said. That's where he's taking Tommy for his last stand. Officer Thompson looked at the rugged terrain on the map. Those canyons are like mazes, perfect place to disappear. Or to trap yourself, Martinez replied. Gather everyone. We leave for Natural Bridges in 15 minutes. As helicopters lifted off and vehicles pulled out, Jennifer held Buddy close. We're coming, Tommy, she whispered. We're coming. The search narrowed to the maze-like canyons of southern Utah. Helicopters circled overhead as dawn broke, casting long shadows across the red rock landscape. On the ground, search teams with tracking dogs combed through narrow passages and dry creek beds. Officer Thompson, Agent Martinez, and a tactical team followed Buddy through an increasingly tight canyon. The chocolate lab pulled strongly on his leash, his nose working frantically. He's picked up a scent, Thompson said, watching the dog's behavior. Look how focused he is now. Jennifer and Robert followed close behind, their faces tense with hope and fear. Tommy's been through here, Jennifer whispered. I can feel it. Agent Martinez studied the ground. Fresh footprints, 2 sets, one small, one large. Robert knelt down, touching a small impression in the sand. This is a child's footprint. Tommy wears size 3 shoes. The team moved deeper into the canyon, which narrowed until they had to walk single file between towering walls of striated red sandstone. Buddy suddenly stopped, his tail wagging excitedly. He pawed at something half buried in the sand. What did you find, boy? Thompson asked, kneeling beside the dog. Martinez brushed away the sand to reveal a crumpled wrapper. Starburst candy, the red ones. Tommy's favorite, Jennifer said, her voice breaking. They continued forward, finding more signs of recent passage. A water bottle cap, more footprints, and eventually a small blue sock partially hidden under a rock. That's Tommy's, Robert said, carefully picking it up. From the pack we bought him last Christmas. The canyon eventually opened into a wider area where several paths diverged. Buddy hesitated, sniffing in different directions before pulling strongly toward the narrowest path on the left. He knows where he's going, Thompson said, letting the dog lead. After another mile of difficult hiking, they came to a hidden cave entrance, partially concealed by brush and fallen rocks. Buddy whined excitedly, pawing at the entrance. Careful, Martinez warned, drawing her weapon. Crawford could be armed. The tactical team moved forward, checking the cave entrance while the others waited behind a large boulder. After several tense minutes, the team leader emerged. Clear, he called, but someone's been living here. Inside the small cave, they found clear signs of recent occupation. A child-sized sleeping bag lay in one corner. Food supplies and water jugs were stacked neatly against the wall. A backpack containing books, colored pencils, and small toys sat beside the sleeping bag. Tommy was here, Jennifer said, touching the sleeping bag. Maybe just hours ago. Agent Martinez examined a folded piece of paper left on top of a wooden crate. It's a note, she said, carefully unfolding it. We're going to our final place now, she read aloud, where no one will ever separate us. What does that mean? Robert asked, his voice tight with fear. Before Martinez could answer, her radio crackled to life. All units. This is Ranger Cooper at Natural Bridges National Monument. I'm on routine patrol at Forgotten Canyon Overlook. I've spotted a man and boy matching the description of Daniel Crawford and Tommy Wilson. They're heading toward the eastern viewpoint. Martinez grabbed the radio. This is Agent Martinez. Do not approach them. Keep visual contact only. We're on our way. The overlook is 15 miles from here, Officer Thompson said, already moving toward the cave entrance. How quickly can we get there? Robert asked. Helicopter's our best option, Martinez replied, radioing for immediate air transport. As they rushed out of the cave, Jennifer clutched Tommy's sock to her heart. "We're so close," she whispered. "Please, let this nightmare end today." Within minutes, a helicopter descended into a small clearing nearby. The search team climbed aboard, including Buddy, who sat trembling between Jennifer and Robert as the aircraft lifted off. From the air, they could see the vast, beautiful, and dangerous landscape of Natural Bridges National Monument stretching below them. Somewhere in that wilderness of stone and sky, their son was walking beside the man who had taken him. "There!" the pilot shouted, pointing toward a high mesa. "Forgotten Canyon Overlook, Eastern Viewpoint." Through the helicopter window, they could see two small figures standing near the edge of a 500-foot drop. The helicopter hovered above Forgotten Canyon as everyone stared at the two figures standing near the edge of the cliff. Crawford had his arm around Tommy, both of them dangerously close to the 500-foot drop. "We need to land away from them," Agent Martinez instructed the pilot. "If he sees us coming directly, he might panic." The helicopter touched down a quarter-mile away. Agent Martinez gathered everyone before they moved forward. "We need to approach very carefully," she said. "No sudden movements, no weapons visible." "Let me talk to him," Jennifer pleaded. "He needs to hear from Tommy's mother." Robert nodded. "We should both talk to him." Agent Martinez hesitated, then agreed. "But stay behind us until I signal you." The team moved quietly through the rocky terrain until they could see Crawford and Tommy clearly. The boy looked thin and tired in clothes too big for him. His blonde hair had grown longer, and he stood unnaturally still beside Crawford. Officer Thompson whispered, "Crawford has spotted us." Indeed, the man had turned and was now watching their approach. His arm tightened around Tommy's shoulders as he backed closer to the edge. "That's far enough," Crawford shouted when they were about 50 feet away. Agent Martinez stopped and raised her hands to show they were empty. "Mr. Crawford, we just want to talk." Crawford shook his head. "There's nothing to talk about. Tommy is my son now. We belong together." Tommy's eyes widened when he saw his parents standing behind the agents. "Mom? Dad?" His voice was barely audible. "Tommy!" Jennifer cried, taking a step forward before Agent Martinez gently blocked her path. "Daniel," Martinez said calmly. "Tommy's family loves him very much. They've been searching for him every day since he disappeared." Crawford's face twisted with emotion. "I love him too. No one understands. I can give him a better life. I can protect him from being hurt like I was." Agent Martinez took a small step forward. "I know you believe that, Daniel, but look at Tommy. He misses his parents. He needs to go home." Crawford shook his head again, more violently this time. "No, everyone always leaves, but not this time. If I can't have Tommy, then no one will." He pulled Tommy even closer to the edge. The boy's feet scattered small rocks that tumbled into the canyon below. "Please," Jennifer called out, her voice breaking. "Please don't hurt him." Agent Martinez turned to Jennifer and Robert. "I think he needs to hear from you directly. Come forward slowly." The Wilsons moved carefully to stand beside Martinez. "Daniel," Jennifer said softly, "I understand loneliness. I grew up in foster care after my parents died when I was 12. I know how it feels when people leave you." Crawford's eyes widened slightly. "You do?" "Yes," Jennifer continued, "and I understand why you wanted Tommy. He's special. He's kind and bright and wonderful." "He is," Crawford agreed, his grip on Tommy loosening slightly. "He never complained, even when we had to move in the middle of the night. He's brave." Robert stepped forward. "Daniel, we're not angry with you. We just want our son back. Every child deserves to be safe and loved." "I kept him safe," Crawford insisted. "I taught him about nature and stars and how to survive." "We know you did," Jennifer said. "Tommy will remember those things forever. You won't be forgotten." Crawford's eyes filled with tears. "Everyone forgets me, my parents, my foster families, everyone." At that moment, Tommy spoke up. "I won't forget you, Dan. I promise." Those simple words seemed to reach something deep inside Crawford. His shoulders slumped, and he looked down at Tommy with an expression of profound sadness. "You promise?" he whispered. Tommy nodded. "I promise." Crawford slowly released his grip on Tommy's shoulder. The boy didn't move immediately, looking up at Crawford with a mixture of fear and compassion beyond his years. "It's okay, Tommy," Crawford said quietly. "Go to your mom and dad." Tommy took one hesitant step, then another, before breaking into a run toward his parents. Jennifer and Robert dropped to their knees, arms outstretched as their son crashed into their embrace. "Tommy! Oh, Tommy!" Jennifer sobbed, holding him tightly. As the family clung to each other, Agent Martinez and her team carefully approached Crawford, who made no attempt to resist as they took him into custody. 1 month later, the town of Pine Creek gathered in the community park. Balloons and banners decorated the pavilion where Tommy, looking healthier and happier, sat surrounded by friends and classmates. "To everyone who helped bring Tommy home," Robert said, raising a glass of lemonade, "thank you." Officer Thompson, wearing his dress uniform with a new commendation pin, smiled as Buddy raced around the playground with Tommy and his friends. The dog never strayed far from the boy's side. Jennifer stood beside Tommy, her hand gently resting on his shoulder. Though the ordeal had left its marks on all of them, today was for celebrating. Tomorrow would bring more healing, more therapy sessions, more slow steps toward normalcy. As autumn leaves began to fall once again, Tommy looked up at the golden trees and then at his mother. "I knew you'd find me," he said simply. "I never stopped believing that." Jennifer hugged him close, breathing in the scent of his hair, treasuring the solid warmth of her son in her arms. "We will always find you, Tommy," she whispered. "Always."